People deluded, I'm back again. The holiday was nice. It's time to get back on the grind. Smash the like button and let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed previously and no doubt are about to discuss. Guimarães, Alex Scott, Morgan Rogers, this thing, that thing, and the third. So, yeah, without wasting any time, big up you lot. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Let me share my screen now. The first thing I want to go over is the first thing I saw when I reset back up my laptop. Allegedly, Bournemouth reject Arsenal's interest in Scott. Now, I do think what Arsenal do, or specifically what Andrea Berta is alleged to have done, or how he operates in the transfer market, isn't too dissimilar, And what I mean by that is, we all know he juggles about 100,000 plates, and it's become clear, Arsenal have, A-list targets, B-list targets, C-list targets, plan A, plan B, plan C. We seem to, test the waters with whatever club this player is at, see what it would look like in terms of a fee, judge the waters on the player's willingness to move, and broadly agree personal terms so that we can move in several directions. Now, I would have Alex Scott. He's English. He's 22 years of age. The way Areola and Bournemouth play, it's not similar to Mikel Arteta, but there's a lot of footballing intangibles. And he's obviously incredibly versatile. And mainly, obviously, I want to retain the Premier League. I want to win the Champions League. We want to keep winning silverware and seize the present at this football club. We're Premier League champions. Just going to throw that out there again. There's been a lot of talk about the past, about the future, and I want to seize the present. But you have to have one eye on not just this season, but seasons to come. And you go through a couple of our squads, like we don't know if Kai Havertz, Marino, Odegaard, there's speculation over these kind of guys. There's Norgard's going, speculation over these guys' future. And I can't guarantee they'll be here in the next 1 to 2 to 3 years. Alex Scott, if he apologies. Alex Scott, if he was to sign for us for X amount, at 22 years of age, there's that. And you can see why, he can press, he's very intelligent off the ball. I mentioned all the off the ball stuff because, whether you're watching the World Cup or football in the current landscape, you could have all the ability in the world. What you do off the ball is imperative, and it's a non-negotiable, if I'm honest with you. We're in systemic football. And yeah, man, Alex Scott just makes sense. He can play in a bunch of roles. I wouldn't be against it, and I definitely wouldn't be mad. Bring him. The worst thing I could say about him is it was a boyhood Spurs fan, but allegedly, Bournemouth reject Arsenal's interest in Scott. Bournemouth have rejected an inquiry from Arsenal for Alex Scott and say the midfielder is not for sale this summer. Now, how many times have we seen someone not move, sign a new deal with a release clause, and then next summer move on? To which I think Arsenal will go for a striker next summer, and I think someone like Alex Scott is probably going to be parked off. And I do think indirectly might be not an alternative, but an alternative to a Morgan Rogers. And as it says there, he did score the winner against us when Bournemouth beat us at the Emirates. How dark was April and how good was May, people? Football, eh? The Premier League champions, the Premier League champions, the Premier League champions. So nice. I had to say it 3 times. Want to sign a new central midfielder with the 22-year-old understood to be one of their targets. Scott is also attracting serious interest from other Premier League clubs, including Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Tottenham Hotspur. Bournemouth have communicated their intention to keep the former Bristol City player and are keen to agree an extension to his current contract, which has 2 years left to run. So it's a pivotal time. He was, close to getting a World Cup call-up, was selected for the training camp, didn't actually get called up. Arsenal have explored moves for Newcastle pair Bruno Guimarães and Sandro Tonali in their search for a new midfielder. A move for Guimarães is currently rated more likely, with Tonali's price believed to be a stumbling block. I don't really care about this because I do think people start seeing 28, 29, 30, and oh my God, they're 90. They've got arthritis in both knees. They can't play football. Bro, you can still do things. But there maybe is a willingness or an acceptance from Arsenal fan base in that probably need to get more youth. And I say that subjectively because there's many points that will shoot that down, people. Apparently Spurs are still on the case there. West Ham's Mateus Fernandes, who seems like he's going Man United, and Lyon's Bawardi have also been monitored by Arsenal. So off the bat, smash the like button and let me know your thoughts. And we're going to circle back on a couple of those names said there, people. So yeah, people, we've had an offer rejected for Alex Scott. We're poised to make Guimarães offer after talks. We're set to make a move for Bruno Guimarães after holding exploratory talks. And how good of a World Cup campaign is he having? Had a very good game, against Japan. Big up Martinelli for scoring. Big up Gabriel Magalhaes for that ball into the box. And he should have probably had 2 assists in that regards. And completely off topic, but Vinicius Jr. scored the best goal that never was in it. Like when he's nutmeg guys, went through and hit the post, hit it. I would not be against Guimarães. We were linked with him when he's in Brazil. We're linked with him when he's at Lyon. We've still been linked with him. Can play as a 6, can play as 8, Premier League proven. If you could have Bruno Guimarães, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Zubamendi, and Declan Rice on top of, as your pure options that are likely going to play in that pivot. And then throughout the course of a season, you do have a Marino, an Odegaard, and there's a Kai Havertz of sorts to, things go left that we could just maneuver through a season, if I'm honest. So yeah, discussions. Sorry, the Gunners have looked into approaches for either Guimarães or his club teammate Sandro Tonali as they attempt to bolster their midfield. During discussions aimed at checking the financial conditions of a deal for Guimarães, it's understood a fee of around 60 million was initially imitated yeah, I can't say that, with the 28-year-old's reps. Arsenal are now poised to make a fresh offer as they remain in talks over a deal for the Brazil international. But it's understood Newcastle have not yet had an official approach. So third-party discussions. Discussions have also taken place with Tonali's reps as the Gunners assess numerous options in their desire to add a new central midfielder to their squad this summer. As things stand, it's understood the only one leading central midfielder. As it's understood, they only want one leading central midfielder, while Bournemouth's Alex Scott and Bawardi are other players being considered. Spurs had a bid for Tonali, for Tonali of 80 million turned down. Guimarães has 2 years left on his contract, people. So maybe that's something we're looking at there. Andrea Berra is renowned for working on numerous deals simultaneously before making a final decision on which one to execute. It does look incredibly likely if Norgard's still going to be there. And if you do sign a Guimarães, a Tonali, a Bawardi, one does wonder what does that make for Zubimendi's first team kind of football, or being a starter, because there is a lot of football. If I'm honest, I love Zubimendi. And I want to look back at this and laugh. But if I'm honest, I do think he'll be back in Spain sooner rather than later, like maybe in the next 2 years, if I'm honest with you. Just seems like one of them. So, yeah, people, would you take Guimarães? Would you take Tonali? Would you want both? Which one would you go over? If you've got the option, better yet, of going for Alex Scott, Guimarães or Tonali, which one do you believe is the best? Now, big up hand of Arsenal, people, because, he's always on the ball with stuff. He's provided a lengthy kind of update, which I'll read in just a second, people. But yeah, get set. As far as there's a helicopter outside. As far as I'm aware, this is what has been going on. Arsenal were interested in Fernandes, Tonali, Pablo Barrios of Atletico Madrid. Decent little signing that would have been. When Tonali was offered to us at the end of January, it piqued everyone's interest at the club. Berta kept in contact, as did City. It became clear the deal was not feasible due to Newcastle wanting 85 million or even more. So to add to that, we probably just don't deem he's worth that, respectfully, or that's out of our budget. To further add, the agent fees are incroyable. I'm not sure, people. Barrios was not available for several reasons. Fernandes is heavily involved with George Mendes, and it became quickly apparent that there would be a bidding war at a minimum of 85 million. It's now been stated whoever pays the most can have him. Berta then made contact multiple times to explore the situation of Alex Scott. The interest is real. There's a feeling a potential bargain could be secured around 65 million. Bournemouth began to panic while Alex Scott was out in the USA with England pre-camp and wanted to rush to secure a renewal for Scott with a possible release clause. Their stance currently is he's not for sale. Is it becoming apparent we have an approximately budget for the midfielder invested in other areas? It does seem like, you know what, we're on playing the back, putting the bag down, because for me, I want a central midfielder. It seems like Arsenal, we've got a lot to spend for a centre midfielder. Depending on the profile of a left winger, we've got that. I do think we'll get in a cut price kind of versatile defender. If a striker piques our interest, what happens there? And you just don't know what Arsenal, specifically Mikel Arteta, Andrea Berta, and the wider Arsenal team that are in charge of this kind of stuff are planning, people. So, yeah, people. As for Bruno Guimarães, let me clarify. Berta made contact with his camp via Kai Dripkin, I guess. A loose offer below 60 million was floated to Newcastle via their appetite for any deal. Newcastle says not for sale. Kai being involved is something you must keep an eye on for reasons every Arsenal fan should be aware of. When an offer is serious, it is officially submitted to a club. Hence, Newcastle saying they've had no contact yet from Arsenal as of 9 a.m. Newcastle will not lose both their midfielders, so maybe Berta tried a cheeky offer before the Tonali deal has gone through. Until a serious offer is presented or our budget changes, we wait. Arsenal have contacted the likes of Bawardi, Kone. I wouldn't mind Manu Kone, to be fair, and others I don't want to discuss yet, but no one else is providing these step-by-step updates. It's incredibly exhausting. Personally, think Bawardi or Bruno would be incredible, as do I, people. Should we refresh the page and see if there's been an update in any regards on such? We're poised to make a second approach for Bruno Guimarães, apparently, so we'll circle back on that. Big up Casemiro, that is a goal scored for Brazil. That's, every Premier League fan would be proud of, people. And big up Martinelli. What is it with Martinelli and scoring in big games and big occasions and clutch moments? So shout out to Gabriel Magalhaes, shout out to Gabriel Martinelli. Obviously, commiserations to Kai Havertz. Obviously, his journey is over. Tough for Kai Havertz, isn't it? Like, Germany went out the World Cup on penalties. Obviously, Arsenal didn't win the Champions League because we lost on penalties. So yeah, it is what it is, people. But 4 assists at the World Cup so far, man. And he's a passion merchant. I know Brazilians are very passionate with football, but he's got the Brazilian kind of passion merchant thing. You would have thought he grew up in Newcastle. So yeah, man. It's understood Aston Villa believe in the current market, Morgan Rogers is worth 130 million. Villa's valuation also factors in the fact that Middlesbrough hold a 20% sell-on clause. It remains to be seen whether they could be negotiated down. What is the final asking price for you of Morgan Rogers? How bad do you lot want him, people? Romano and Guimarães. It's true that Arsenal made a direct approach for Guimarães on the player side and club side of Newcastle. My understanding is their intention was for a deal of around 55 million, but Newcastle not selling for this fee. We'll see if Arsenal return. So, you know, you got credible journalists. Ornstein, Hand of Arsenal, and Fabrizio Romano have all spoken about it. The general basis, it seems like they're all on the same page, but the details are quite different. You just never know. So for us, just armchair experts, it makes it exciting. Arsenal are preparing apparently a second approach for Newcastle captain Bruno Guimarães. The Premier League champions were interested in the midfielder and held talks with his reps through intermediaries and have been told by Newcastle's hierarchy he's not for sale. However, we understand a new proposal is now being readied and will be presented to the Magpies. It's likely Newcastle's stance will remain the same. As we know, Bruno is currently at the World Cup. He has 2 years left to run. And you can see the theme that Arsenal wants central midfielders. Apparently, Arsenal's head of sports science and performance has departed. It seems like there's been a couple of backroom changes, such as normal work in life, if I'm honest with you. Sam Wilson's expected to go to Parma in Serie A, where they're managed by Carlos Cuesta, people. Arsenal's medical staff departures arrive as part of a review involving external medical expert Joaquin Acedo. Sources close to the revamp claim that Acedo's influence on changes this summer has been significant. And forgive me for mispronunciations, but our head of medicine, Zafar Iqbal, has departed. Sam Wilson, our head of physical performance, lead physical performance coach, and Tom Allen, our head of sports science. So yeah, you'd imagine there'd be changes. Have we got anyone to replace Mertesacker yet, people? Where our academy is concerned. Arsenal think that 65 million could be enough to trigger a sell for Guimarães. There's been no club-to-club contact with Newcastle, and all of the conversations are taking place via intermediaries, people. Multiple teams have inquired about Ben White in recent months, but a significant knee injury has slowed down any potential move. It is thought that if a suitable offer arrives, which he deems a challenge, he will leave Arsenal this summer. Arsenal are monitoring William Saliba's condition closely. Let's see how he feels post-World Cup. It's interesting because I know Arsenal have also made checks on numerous centre-backs, including Lacole, Konza, and others. Fair play, people. Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Bayern Munich are all following Buwadi. Should he move this summer? Leo would prefer a sale with a one-year loan included, with club president Oliver Letang demanding between 80 to 100 million euros. Yeah, I don't think we could afford to do that, people. You'd have to return. We can't give you back on loan. You'd have to be here. Emmanuel Mbemba, who's a reported target for Arsenal, is set to join Monaco. Now, if I'm honest with you, you stay in your homeland. Monaco's a lovely place to live, which I'm sure a Frenchman knows more than me. I'm sure the tax benefits are great. And obviously, you know, respectfully to Monaco, there's pressure. But Yaya Toure said it. You know, when you're playing, there's not that many fans. So you can develop under pressure and out of the limelight. Respectfully to Monaco, we've seen them get numerous players from the four corners of the world, train them up, they develop a name for themselves, and then they move on. So he probably would get more immediate first-team football, where if he is going to play left-back, which was touted, you've got Hincapié and Calafiori ahead of you, international footballers. The option of Timber going over there. Centre-half is stocked as well. It don't really make sense from a selfish point of view. If we can get him for a couple of thousand and he develops into a first-team player, great. If he develops into a first-team player, but he's not quite of the standard of where we want to go, then that couple of thousand turns into a couple of million. You can't go wrong making a profit in this life. Can I smash the like button? So, yeah, everybody's tracking, you know, Buwadi. Apparently, PSG are club favoured by the midfielder. And PSG, they're really good at buying the other young French talents in that league, innit, people? Remember when I told you a lot about Regan Heskey? Now, probably not immediate first-team level, but he shouldn't be playing academy football at Manchester City. And he's someone that, you know, I'm surprised in German clubs and other English clubs ain't taking him, because you'll get him for cheap, quote unquote, and sell him for a lot more. Now, it will go down to a tribunal, and I know we're going to get Jerry Mongo, but I would love us to have a little cheeky offer for him. Peter O'Rourke said a number of top clubs in England and Europe are monitoring Regan Heskey's situation at Manchester City, with his scholarship deal due to expire later this week. Heskey's current deal is set to expire on June 30th, and despite ongoing talks over a pro deal, nothing has been agreed, which is weird because he's a very exciting prospect. Bradley Bacola's situation remains absolutely open, as he's high on Liverpool's list, as reported for months now. Diamande seems to have picked PSG, so Bacola, you might be going to Liverpool. If both Diamande and Akilushe join PSG, Bocola's future could change in case of a bid proposal. Liverpool have been keen since the summer of last year, says Romano. Allegedly, Ellie Junior Kruipke wants to join PSG this summer. Bournemouth currently values the player at 100 million euros, which has cooled the club's interest in the deal. But the situation could change if the English club lowers its valuation. The Frenchman's situation is not linked to Diamande's arrival. I mean, PSG, man, like, you're not just getting all the skillers in it. I did read this. I just felt it was interesting that Saliba revealed that Arsenal wanted to send him to Newcastle or Crystal Palace on loan in preparation for what you see now at Arsenal. He picked Marseille. It's fair to say that worked out extremely well for the lad, didn't it, people? Granada's technical secretary, Javier Alonso, will leave the club to join Andrea Berta's technical team at Arsenal. So there's a lot of changes in all fragments at youth level, off the field, medical, people coming in where, scouting and recruitment's concerned. Obviously, we're interested in players, people. So it's quite interesting. So, yeah, it seems like Mbemba won't be joining Arsenal, people. Let's see if there's anything else in this regards. Anything new? Probably not. Did you not see Jurgen Klopp taking shots? Like, if there's not a goal from the corner, Arsenal wouldn't be champions. Shut up. It's not our fault Germany went out, lad. Like